crossover magic. Which years did soul music make the biggest splash on the pop charts? So, I saw this August the 1st, 1981 Billboard magazine article which details how the pace of number one R&B hits that crossed over onto the pop charts slowed down in 1981 compared to previous years. I thought it was an interesting article and it inspired me to find the answer to the following question. What were the biggest crossover years for soul music? I decided to do a multi-part series tackling this topic. Each video is going to focus on a specific decade. I'm going to cover the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Each video will rank every year of a decade based on the average peak position of number one R&B hits on the pop charts. Additionally, I included number one pop hits that were also top 10 R&B hits for every year of a decade. Why? Because this indicates a strong R&B to pop crossover performance. I figured if a top 10 R&B record went to number one on the pop charts, that song should definitely be counted as a crossover hit. Now, I should disclose some flaws in my research. There are several genres and subgenres of music under the soul family umbrella. Mainstream R&B, adult contemporary R&B, hip-hop, jazz, funk, gospel, reggae, blues, and others. I used only the mainstream hip-hop and R&B singles chart to select the biggest songs from each year of a decade. Doing so creates limitations. Certain songs in any given year won't be eligible because they didn't reach the top of the mainstream hip-hop and R&B singles chart or even appeared on that chart at all. But that doesn't mean they weren't big songs, and it also doesn't mean they didn't cross over to the pop charts. For example, it's possible that a top 10 record on the rap charts didn't reach the top 10 of the mainstream hip-hop and R&B chart. However, it could still be considered a crossover record if it charted well on the Billboard Hot 100. I just decided to make the mainstream hip-hop and R&B singles chart the exclusive measurement for popular soul music, at least for the purpose of this series, because it's quite common for songs on other soulful charts to peak high on the mainstream chart anyway. In fact, that has a lot to do why the name of the chart was changed to hip-hop and R&B because of how common it was for rap records to appear and often sit atop of the mainstream R&B chart. And that brings me to another point. Some songs weren't included in the analysis for a particular year because of their debut or peak dates on the charts. For example, a song may have reached number one on the R&B chart in 1994, but didn't peak on the pop chart until 1995. And that's typical when songs are released in the latter part of a year, such as during the holiday season. Because I'm focused on the crossover appeal of a record, the pop peak dates of a song takes preference over when the record peaked on the R&B chart, at least for this series. But make no mistake about it, every soul record that went number one on the R&B chart and or on the pop chart is included in my research for every year from 1970 to 2009. I give chart performance stats and dates for each song within the top year of each decade when I reveal the rankings, which should provide greater clarity to my research methodology. Also, I will share what I call soulful honorable mentions for the top year of each decade. These are records that moved into the top 10 of both the R&B chart and the pop chart, but didn't reach number one on either chart. For example, a song that goes to number 5 on the R&B chart and number 8 on the pop chart is surely a crossover record, and I think it should at least be mentioned when highlighting the soul records peaking within a decade's top year. By the way, when I say the pop chart, I'm referring to the Billboard Hot 100. And if I say the R&B chart, that means all songs that fit the criteria and appeared on that chart are included: rap, reggae, funk, etc. Not just songs specifically characterized as being R&B records. I'll conclude the series with a video ranking the 4 decades analyzed, the 1970s through the 2000s, and then I'll rank the top 10 individual years across all 4 decades. Finally, I'll rank the top 50 crossover songs across all 4 decades. So, please join me for what I hope you will find to be an informative and enjoyable series. First up, the 1990s. The link is in the description. Peace.